Yes, yes. Welcome to the match preparation video for Sunday, the 3rd of May's fixture between Grange Thistle and Morton City Excelsior. We played these guys previously, had a 2-all draw. Personally, I feel that we should have taken more away from that game. It's my opinion that we are a better football team. We play better football, and this is another opportunity for us to express that on their home turf. The weather forecast appears to be appropriate for football, but we can nonetheless expect wet conditions, which is fine. We took wet conditions on against Redlands and came away with a good result. At the start of my key points is managing transitional moments. Now, there were two goals that they scored in the first fixture. One was a ball, poor ball into the middle of the pitch from a tired midfielder, which they managed to break. It was a combination of things, really. I'm not going to cover that in this review. What I am going to do is cover the second one because it feeds into other dot points. So that's 86-21. This is their second goal. I felt it was very much against the run of play. They weren't really in the game up to this point. So what you had, Max drove the ball forward, turned over the ball on their box. Now, for the most part, you can see how these guys line up. So what they play with, I'm going to use, I think I might use white circles because they're more visible. But they have a back four. Let me get rid of that, get a circle. So they have a back four. In front of that, they put two defensive midfielders. So one, two, oh, that's one there. Let me get this properly. So I have one, two, three, four in their back four. They have two defensive midfield. They put in front there, and then they have this chap who basically plays as a number nine. Number 10 in behind the striker. Tends to drop quite deep though, particularly when you have them under defensive pressure. They really do crowd that defensive area. So in this situation, we turn the ball over on a break. These are occasions when I would like to see us managing possession better. But anyway, so we've got five people who we've committed to the attack, and we've turned it over, which means they can break. Now, if we're in a position where we're more organised and more structured, actually, the one more thing I did want to point out in this situation is, and you can see it from the map up the front, they have their three attackers. They have their striker and their left and right wingers, both of whom have quite a bit of toe. They're quite fast, particularly there. If he played in 17, I don't know, what is his name, Harry or something. Anyway, he's quite effective as a goal scorer and is fast. So what it means is my assessment of them is they have a back four, two defensive midfielders, and then they look to be very direct to engage those attackers and strikers. So what we need to do, and this will be a focus when I move on to the next section, is we basically need to shut down the middle of the pitch if we can by getting people into a position where they can get the ball and stop it getting up there. Anyway, we'll roll this through. We'll go to full screen and then we can see it. So essentially, this guy, notice he gets his eyes up. And this is going to be a critical point when I talk about their attack because a lot of their attack is advancing the ball to somewhere from here forward, much like Redlands. If they can get the ball into this zone here, either via dribble or a pass, they tend to turn and just bomb up and just bomb away. So in that situation, what we probably need to do as our centre backs is if they've got the ball to this position, we probably need to drop 5 to 10. So drop the line 5 to 10 so that they can't kick over us and get in behind us because that's where their pace is a risk. If we drop 5 to 10 and Mick is on the top of his 18-yard box, probably a little bit more, it makes it very hard for them to make that work. So in any case, we'll roll it. Now he just has all the time in the world to wind it up and kick it long, and now we can see what they have. So this is what these chaps do. You can see they're all lined along. This number nine, he wasn't really much of a problem, I didn't feel. But we've got Luke Payne. We will have Luke Williams, which makes a difference. It will give us more speed up at the back. Um, I think that's Isaac there. So in this situation, once that happens, once he's got the ball and comes forward, you can probably look at dropping the line because that's a doable kick. But if we drop 5 to 10, he's very unlikely to get that ball through. But that's a defensive. It's a decision for the front line to make in the game. The point of the story is that he managed to kick in behind us. Luke just doesn't have the toe to match it with this chap. And to be fair, it's a pretty good finish. I think Mick, you might have been a little bit too close to your near post. There's no jail sentence for getting beaten at your near post, mate. If they want to try to beat you at your near post, let them try to beat you at the near post because standing on your near post and exposing 80% of your goal is not a good trade-off. So anyhow, that was their first, sorry, that was their second goal, but highlighted something that I want to return to. So if we now go way back to 12:03, this is where I want to point out where we can trap them in their half because they're not my assessment is they're not all that good playing out and playing through. They just want to go long a lot. So I'm going to go back to 11:49. This should be a goal kick. Okay, so we'll let it develop. So he takes the touch. Now, the problem here is he's got a lot of time to look up. So something we need to get better at in this fixture, and this is going to be covered. I might as well go, I might as well carry on while I'm on a roll. So be this chap's here. These chaps over there, I'm not sure where the other centre backs wandered off to, but usually they'll have the centre back and then they'll have one or two people in the middle of the pitch. What we need to do is we need to have our striker, in this case you, Danny, you need to be closer because at the moment we're just surrendering too much ground. You're giving him 20 meters, so there's no pressure on the ball. He can look up. He's not. I didn't really identify any of their defenders who I felt were particularly strong on the ball. They were okay, but not particularly strong if put under pressure. So we just need to put them under pressure. So in that situation, we need to be closer to them because otherwise he dribbles it up, and now he's in a position where he can generate an attacking pass. This is going to get cut out. Okay, what you can, I don't know where one of their defenders is, but you can clearly see in this situation where they shape up in this formation. They're going to have one, they're usually going to have another centre back there. They're going to have this chap, and then they're going to have these are their two defensive midfielders. I think what's happened here is this is actually their left back who's stupid, crazily out of position. Anyway, we win the ball, we drive. Now this is one. This is a good opportunity to talk about those transitional moments, which we covered. Go away, which we covered. Okay, so got the ball, first touch into space. Now, what we want to do here, as we talked about in the drills that we were doing, is take a first touch. So, what we wanted to do is try to set up a strike. Now, if you look at your options in this situation, Mayal, the best option for you is to pass the ball playing Danny through. So, you pass the ball into this space here ahead of Danny. Danny can run to collect it and then he's on the dribble. Now, the reality is Danny's probably not going to outstrip all of those defenders to get to put his shot on. So what you need to then do is you can then continue your run into this gap and look for Danny to either get to that point, and if he thinks the shot's on, by all means blaze away. But the other thing that you can do is you can also put you in this defender here. He's going to have to go to the ball. He's got no choice. He's going to have to go to the ball, and that's where we get the opportunity to either to create the space in behind him. If he doesn't go to the ball and he marks Mayal, then Danny gets to as well wherever he feels he can stabilise a shot and tries to beat the goalkeeper. As it turns out, Mayal dribbles the ball. Now we got to get out of this habit of dribbling the ball away from everyone. Um, so we'll now move to 17:05. The better option there, and this is what we were trying to practice. First ball, try to find a pass to then try to find Danny for a pass for then another pass to attack. If we can't do that, consolidate the possession, dribble it out the back, roll it to Luke Payne, maintain the possession, and keep the pressure on them in their attacking third. We scored our goals against them in their defensive third. So when we were on the attack, maintaining possession in their third of the pitch. That is typically when we score goals rather than going long on the break because we don't have a hell of a lot of pace up front. Mayal, Danny, Will, none of them are outrageously fast. They're going to speed away from defenses. So we need to play to our strengths, not our egos. So 17:05, rolling up. So another good example. Now this is very much no. Really? Oh yeah, okay, I've got to go back a tiny bit. Tell you what, the Excelsior parents are They're very robust. This is an example of long ball. So we were, and this is something we've got to be mindful of. So we've broken. If we can count the players that we have. So they have in defence one, two. There's a couple more out here. Got another one there, there, there. The ball is breaking with this guy. I believe this is their striker. Um, so they're on the break. They've got no one up near the halfway line, which is unusual for them. Usually they have a whole row of people up there. We've committed a lot. That's Luke as our left back, and he's well advanced down the pitch. Danny is striker. We've then got Will and maybe Danny, or could be Benji. Where is it? 12 when it's probably not. So we got now centre backs are here. So we are about to attack. Okay, so they're going to break here. Now, this is something they do notice. They've got the ball into that zone that I was talking about. You can see, I think they may have started with Kalen at striker. The benefit of having Kalen at striker is the boy ain't that quick, so he's not really going to spring an offside trap. You can see here Zach's just sort of not even bothering because he knows it's offside. So that's something to be mindful. While we're on the topic of Kalen, we'll go ahead to 27-11, because when Kalen's playing in that front row, and he only did it for the first half, but what you'll notice is, so here we are, ball goes forward. Now, Kalen's in the striker position, well advanced. He's one-on-one with probably Zach, I think. So he's one-on-one here. But what his role is, what I believe his allocated role is to play diagonal balls through for their strikers. This number 16 was relative. He's obviously quite a handful. He's quite quick. He got a goal. The other one, he played. I'm pretty sure he played to 17 last year. Not sure what his name is. I, he didn't seem to have a lot of time on the pitch, but this is what Kalen's going to tend to do. He's going to tend to do that because he's not really going to break from that point and drive in and score because he's not going to have the pace to beat the defense. So ball comes down, Kalen gets the ball at his feet and just tries to play through. Good pass, but they're looking for the space. So if you look there, they know exactly what they're doing. Like this guy knows exactly what he's up to. So if you watch, come mate, throw the ball. Yeah, great, thanks. Lumps it up. So once again, long bally stuff. Okay, so this guy's there and he goes offside, that's fine, but he's looking for a through ball. So is this chap over here, number 12. So that's what they're all looking for. They're looking for that hot for Kalen to act as a holding striker and play it through. So we just got to be mindful of that. The easiest way to do that is just not to let him turn. If you don't let him turn, he can't set those opportunities up. Boom, plays it through. It's a good ball, to be fair. He's undercut it well. This guy gets on. He reels off a shot, but does not score. So we won't waste any more time on it. So back to this. Now, as I've covered, I'm of the opinion that the long ball is their main attacking option. They tend to try to get it to that middle of the pitch and then try to look for that pace and speed up front. We can deal with that. An important way to deal with that, and this is something that I'm going to move on to now, go back to the video. Now, this applies for goal kicks, but it also applies in general play. What we need to do is preferably not give them the opportunity to get their eyes up and go for that longer pass. So 1915. God, look at that. Okay, so this is where we had them tied up. I'll just pause it, enlarge it. So we're trying to do a sub, wait for everybody to stop moving. Okay, now at this point in time, we're subbing Danny. It's been 15 minutes. We need to get a lot of energy in that press. It's extremely important. But what I wanted to highlight, they split their centre backs, which is really common. They split their full backs, so left and right back, both split to go wide. I don't mind that because if they move the ball out there, we can easily enough isolate them. These are their two defensive midfielders. And this chap here, which I'm not going to circle, is who plays as essentially their number 10. So what that means is we will marry that up by having our striker, who will split them, our left back, who will split these two, sorry, our left winger, and then our right winger who will split them. And then in behind that, we're going to have our number 10. Now, the number 10 is probably going to have two people. So what you can see has happened here. Riley's actually stepped up to act as another player to mark. So this guy's not marked. So what you're doing is you're forcing them. We don't mind them having to go long from their 18-yard box because the chances of them generating an attacking, threatening opportunity aren't really high because the ball's going to land somewhere in the middle here. And there's every likelihood that we'll recover it through one of our centre backs or maybe our defensive midfielder. So we'll get rid of that. We'll play on. So Danny's substituting off. It's a good shift. He'd already got a goal by that point in time. While that's happening, Danny's a very effective striker if we've got the ball in their attacking third. When Danny is less effective is when we try to hit long balls for him to outpace defenders and outpace defenses. It's just not his strong suit. He's not that kind of striker. He's the kind of striker who will be clinical at finishing opportunities, but generally in their box. Okay, so I can hear Nathan going berserk. Okay, so here we are, this situation. So once again, the good thing about this, they've gone backwards. Benji's close enough. See, what you need to do is be close enough that they're aware of you and they're focusing on, oh, okay, I better make sure I control the ball. Where's he? Rather than give them too much time where they can look up the pitch and measure a pass. There's a lot to like about this in terms of how we've set it up. We've got Mayel, who's splitting the two of them. I can't see Will, but Will's probably a little bit too far out. You probably need to be there, Will. Riley's coming here, and I think that's even Max marking up their other centre back. So that would suggest that Ollie's at the back. But you can see in this situation, I don't consider them to be a massively confident backline on the ball. So this guy's probably going to bomb long. So they're probably going to go to him and his right foot often. So if you are the striker, you probably need to shut him down a bit more. Mael, probably better if you're a little closer to the right back, but not to worry. So he bombs it up. And the good thing about this is nothing comes of it. Okay, yeah, sure, we have to kick it out, and that's a shame. But that's how it works. I will roll it back a tiny bit to highlight what I was saying about their setup. So we'll let them go. There they are. Okay, so you can even look at the footage up front. Their number 10 drops back. So they've got a back of four and then three midfielders. And what they're trying to do is get through and then go long. Now he's booted long. And what I'm going to just do is boom. So you can see here. Now, this is what I'm saying with our defensive midfielder. So they're going to have back here, they're going to have centre back. I'll just redraw that dude. They're going to have him out there. They're going to have their two midfielders. And what tends to happen is their other midfielder tends to get sucked back. So what we need to have happen is in this situation, what would be better if we line them up and talk. So we've got Francis over there at right back, Isaac here, Zach here, Luke Payne here. What's probably going to be better is if our defensive midfielder is basically playing, oh, that's probably a little bit too far back, but our defensive midfielder is playing somewhere here and they're moving laterally to shut that out. So they're in line with where the ball goes because then if he tries to hit that, you're going to cut that out and then we can drive. Okay, so does that make sense? So what we probably want to try to see with our defensive midfielder is not have them a part of the back line, but we want to have them somewhere in this corridor, moving laterally along that corridor so that we can shut out that long pass if the press works. Okay, you can just move laterally. I think at that point in time, I think that's Ollie. He's over here. I think he's got drawn into that because Will's out of position. Will's over here. Will needed to be here splitting them. Okay. Um, we're generally quite good at that. I'm not sure why we got a little bit. I'm not sure why we got a tiny bit sloppy there, but I'm just going to roll it back. Um, so we'll wait for the sub. We'll roll it out. You can see, watch Will over on the other side. So, Will, you need to not so much be standing where you are there. what you, Jesus. Uh, there we go. That's what I'm trying to find. Yeah, so Will, you kind of need to be here more mirroring what what Mayal's doing because that way you're splitting them. Um, Geez, I don't know how to get rid of those dots, but anyway, I won't be doing this for too much longer, so that's fine. So Danny comes off, good 15-minute shift up front. We had Benji going on just to add a little bit more stimulus into the press. So I think that they're going to do this all day long if we put pressure on them from goal kicks. We tend to win goal kicks when we're in the attacking third or maybe even throw-ins. And that's just a good reason to manage possession and respect possession in their half. But when they do come forward, so I think what you see there is Ollie's out of position because Will's in the wrong spot, if you like. So anyway, we've covered that. We can cover it again tomorrow if need be. So I'll minimize that. Not sure. Oh, that must. Okay, I see what's happening there. So that's actually a Zoom tool. Okay, so in possession, look, it's much the same in possession. We want to find space between the lines because what we really need to do is build up and advance the ball, play through them. We can find space in between the lines. If we need to go through the lines, we can go through the lines if the opportunity presents. Ball speed's going to be really, really important, like really, really important. So we didn't move the ball particularly slowly against Excelsior. So let's move the ball faster and let them chase it. It's much more fun watching them chase around after the ball and us having possession. In terms of our defense, the biggest thing, as always, is managing transition. The goals we conceded to them in the last game were out of transition because they do have pace in the attacking third, which allows them to maximize their transitional opportunities. So, as we practiced in drills, block the immediate pass. So when we get a turnover of possession, get pressure on the ball. Get yourself between the player and the goal because if you're going to boot long, you're probably going to be booting long towards the goal because that's probably going to be where the striker is. And the only other thing I was going to highlight was on goal kicks. If we have the defensive midfielder holding possession, because if we're applying pressure to the ball, I doubt they'll be able to generate effective long balls if we have pressure being applied to the ball. But then on goal kicks, if we've got that defensive midfielder screening our back four, then things are going to be looking particularly good because they will, in my opinion, I'm expecting them to line up with three across halfway looking to bomb it. And of course, if you're the back line, if they advance the ball, we can just drop the line 5 to 10. Okay, if we need to, because it gives us more time. Quickly now, we will move on to the starting lineup. So the starting lineup is not massively different to the one that we started off with against Redlands. Danny leads the line from the start. Mayal's going to be on the left-hand side. Danny, we just need to tighten up that press a tiny bit, mate. We just need to get more pressure. It's not a lot. It's just a couple of meters, just a little bit more urgency on that press to make it a bit harder for them. Because if we pressure their back line, we will get turnover ball. Mael, um, look, honestly, just stop running away from everybody over to the wing. If we do get transition and you do have a happy knack of getting transitional balls, just remember first touch into space and then look to link up rather than take on three or four players. Riley, more of the same from you. Fantastic shot from outside the box. It's a matter of time before teams realise that you're a threat, and then that also means that they're going to be more likely to rush out, which gives you a whole range of other attacking opportunities driving into the box. Will, more of the same. These guys are a bigger side than us physically, so that means that it's going to be another tough day at the office with bigger people. You just need to get your head down, your bum up, and drive and work hard out on that right hand side. Max marshalling us in the middle. You can expect some time at the back at centre back, in my opinion. We talked about that, but you get to start in the middle of the pitch. We need something for all of you. Take a touch and then pass because I'm sick of this one touch bullshit turning over the ball and exposing us to constant transitional moments. Take a touch, pass the ball. I got to be honest with you, very few of you have got the capacity to generate accurate one-touch passes. Um, Francis, well, there's not really much more I can say, mate. You're an absolute dynamo out there. You will very likely get a rest at some point in time because I would like you fresh for the midfield in the back end of the game because if it works out the way it did before, it'll be quite vigorous in the middle there, and your tenacity and ability will be very useful, particularly as Ollie, who is obviously starting at defensive mid. But we'll just watch your minutes, Ollie, because you play out the red line a lot, which means when you tire, we can then end up with some loose passes creeping in, and that was their first goal. Was just we pushed you too far with minutes, and it was a loose pass looking for Max that got cut out, and they drove in and scored, which is very frustrating. Luke Williams, this will be a different game for them because we've got you at left back. You've just got extra pace. We saw that in their second goal. Lukey Payne's a quality player. He's got a fantastic touch and an excellent left foot, but that number 17 just skinned him, and you can't. There's not much you can do to change that, especially on a transitional moment. Zach Mason and Major. I think obviously Zach, you're a tower of strength at the back for us. So you know what they're going to produce. We need more torque at the back. One of the most impressive things about Francis in the last couple of weeks has been the amount of torque. We need that to be contagious across the back line. And Major, we will benefit massively from the tenacity that you bring to our back line. But once again, you're returning to the lineup. So yeah, you're returning. Sorry, I was just making sure this microphone's still working. You are returning to the lineup, so we will have to look to manage your minutes accordingly. Zach Millie, mate, Milichet, you are in a excellent vein of form. Whether you find yourself on the right side of midfield or whether you find yourself at right back, I'm quite certain that you'll be able to express yourself. Really good game against Redlands, even sneaking in to get a goal, which is a pretty well taken goal, to be completely honest. Lukey Payne, look, I would anticipate we'll probably have Luke Williams at the back for a lot of the fixture. So you will be more likely to play forward, but we'll wait and see. If we can get a mismatch up front, then we may well look to exploit that as well. Hayden, once again, you offer us quite a bit up front. The key with you is going to be taking a touch, executing a pass, and moving. So I would prefer to see you move the ball because if you dwell on the ball too much, you tend to get overran and then knocked over because you are at this point in time a lighter frame. So play to your strengths, remain mobile, remain aloof of their defense, touch pass, move into space, and receive again. Benji, you'll get plenty of time up front. The challenge you're presenting me at this point in time is do I start you or do I look to use you in the back end of the game when your speed and technical ability, it just gives you a massive advantage over tired defenders. And Luca, this is going to be, we'll see how this game unfolds. But you're probably going to be in a relief role, either at striker or right midfield. So what's going to be really important is you concentrating on what I've been telling you about that press. Um, so that's going to be really, really important because if they escape our press, then we're at danger because they will go long and kick to that speed. So we've got to be really quite structured and disciplined when we're defending. And our front three are our first line of defence and a really critical line of defence. This is going to be an ongoing trend in this competition. It's not going to be any different to Lions. We talk a lot about, where we may or may not have made mistakes at the back, but at the end of the day, if we can prevent them from getting the opportunity to bomb it up with accuracy and precision, it's not really an issue because if they're shoveling crap ball up, it's not really going to worry us too much. Get a good night's sleep, boys. It will be a tough game. It will be a physical game. I don't go to school with any of you, but I imagine they've probably been talking plenty of shit. So let's settle once and for all the discussion over who is the better side by putting in a good performance, because I'm quite certain that if we play to our ability, we will carry the points at the end of the day.